QRstuff.com is a website you can use to create QR codes. It's one of several websites that are available that allow you to make QR codes. This is one I've used often and one that I know other teachers have used, and it's also fairly user-friendly, so that's why I like to use it for this assignment. It is pretty simple. There aren't a lot of bells and whistles to it, so it shouldn't cause you too much trouble. It's free. There are some options that aren't free, but we're not going to be using those. And you don't have to log in, which is nice. So even though it says email, password up here, you don't have to do that. What we're going to do doesn't involve any of that or any of this. We're just going to focus on this middle section. So you'll see that it's broken up into different steps. Step 1 is the type of data. So that's going to be what's embedded in your code, meaning when someone scans your code, what's going to pop up? Is it going to be a website? Is it going to be a video and a picture? Is it going to be just plain text? So you get to choose that in this section. Some of these are not free, so of course we won't use those. Some of them are, so I'll talk to you about those when we make one. This middle section is where you're going to put your content. So for example, if we're doing a website URL, we're going to paste the URL in this section. In section 3, you can design it and make it a color if you want. I usually leave them black, but if you want them to be a different color, of course you can do that. Just by clicking on the color, it changes it it shows you. Once we have a code, it'll change it there too. Let's leave it black for now, and then I'll show you how to change it. And then you download it here, or you can download it down here, and then it gives you some other options for how to print it out, and I'll show you those. So not a lot to it. You're only going to use this page, but you have to decide what you want to go in your code. So that's step 1. So let's start by doing a website. I want you to try a couple different ones when you make this for your assignment, and one of those is a website, because that's a simple way to direct the students to a place you want them to go without them having to type in a URL. So all I have to do is take my tablet or my phone, scan the QR code, and I don't have to type anything in. It takes me to the website. So let's pretend that I'm teaching about the 3 branches of government. We're talking about the executive branch, and I want to visit the White House website. So I've already copied that link, and so that's what you would do first. You would go to that site and copy the link, and then I'm going to paste it here where it says website URL. So you see whitehouse.gov, and it's pasted in here, and it's done, essentially. Really, there's nothing left to do. It's that simple. All you have to do is paste it. When we pasted it, the code was generated over here, and this is now our code. Now, if I wanted to make it pink, I could. So now that we've actually made a code, it changes, or another color, or just leave it black. But I'm done. So I could hit download code, and it's going to download as a picture file. So if I click on the download, you'll see it pop up in a second as a picture file. So if I drag it over here so you see the extension. It's a file that I could print, I could save it, or I could copy and paste this into a Word document, which I do often when I'm making something I want to give to the students, kind of like the handout on EDU 2.0. There are times I've just printed directly from this. If I wanted to just have one code that I'm putting somewhere, some teachers will put codes on students' desks so they remember where they're supposed to go. For example, I had a student who always forgot when it was time for him to go to his AIG pullout services. And I would be teaching, and he would still be sitting in class and never have left, and the AIG teacher would come and say, "Why didn't so and so come?" And I would, so I had to put something on his desk to remind him. Of course, I didn't at the time. QR codes weren't something we did, so I just had a typed little thing I taped on his desk, and you probably see those in classrooms when you visit. But nowadays, you might see QR codes too. So the student can scan it and look at something, whatever it is. It could be a reminder, it could be formulas. Um, and so, so if you wanted just one to print, you could just print it. But that's it. So I have it, I save it, I can put it in my Word document, I could put it in a PowerPoint, I could just print it out. But that should take me to the White House. So another option down here, so that downloads the same thing, but this one where it says print, will pull up the option to have multiple of the same code on one sheet. And you can also, you'll see Avery, so we know those are those labels that you can get, at Target or Office Max, it has places you could get them. So they're stickers. So I could pick up a pack of Avery labels, and I could print, using these templates, I could print a QR code on the labels and have multiple per page. Some teachers will do that if, say for example, I want to place a reminder, excuse me, in a homework book for the students. So I remember having to write notes in all my students' homework books, or you put a sticky note in it. But now some teachers are sticking a QR code in the homework book. And if it's a label, it's a sticker. So you just stick it in there, and then the parents can scan it at home, and up will pop up whatever. It could be some reminders. It could be a link to something like a sign up for parent conferences. But this would be a good option if you wanted multiple of the same code. So you wouldn't have different codes. This is going to print out multiple of the same. So you'd have to make sure you wanted that many of the same. But I like that option, that it'll automatically set it to the template for you. Now, of course, you can do that too in Word. And I've done that where I've copied and pasted the code several times and printed it out in Word. But I just wanted you to see that's there. And this won't be for this assignment, but that's for the future if you wanted to do that in your classroom. So let's go back to the main page. We've looked at a website. There's also the option to do a YouTube video, which I have played with, and so have some of my previous students, and we didn't really see a difference between a website link to YouTube and the YouTube video link to YouTube, because it still pretty much pulls up just the same video in YouTube. If you find something different, that I would love to hear that. But that's what that is. So a link to the video, and that's the same as this one. Some of them require the paid subscription, like this image. A PDF is paid. One thing around the PDF though is you could link to your Dropbox or something that's going to pull up a file. You can do Google Maps. That's free, and some of the social media is free. But the other one that I want you to try, so I want you to, one, try website, and then two, I want you to try what's called plain text. Plain text allows you to just type right in this box, and when you scan it, it'll just pull up text. So this is a great option for the ability to, maybe when the students scan it, it pulls up instructions for them of what you want them to do. Or maybe it pulls up the answer to a problem. So maybe they worked out a problem and now they're going to scan the code to check their answer. Some teachers will put the problem. So maybe they scan it and it's a word problem, or it's written there. And in some of the videos for this week's video reflection, you'll see where I think if I'm not sure if I put this one on there, but one of them was bingo, maybe, where the teacher, you scan and you do the problem, then you fill out your bingo chart, or scavenger hunt, or something where you're collecting answers and there's text. One way I've also used this is to group students. So I handed out a bunch of QR codes to my students, and they had to scan the code to see what group they were in for like a center rotation. So let's pretend like we're doing that. So I want to say that this is going to say blue. So when my students scan it, that if they get that card and scan it, then they're in the blue group. Or maybe they're in the red group. So notice that as I type over here, the code has changed. Or maybe it says the answer to the problem. Of course, you would have the answer. I'm just writing that as an example. But you get the idea. So whatever I want to type in here, I can. And when I scan the code, that's what's going to pop up. So again, I'm done essentially. I could make it a different color, but if I download the code, I have it as a picture file. And if my students were to scan it, they know, oh, I'm in the red group, or oh, that's the answer to the problem.